the power of social commerce. Let's welcome Mr. Abhinav Jain, who is the Vice President of Reposo. Can we have a round of applause as we welcome him? We'd like to welcome Mr. Roshan Farhan, the founder and CEO of Gobilion. Shantanu Singh, the Vice President of DealShare. Anuradha Balasubramanian, the Director and Head, Poshmark India Marketplace. So Mr. Sunil Nair will be moderating this panel discussion. We kindly request everyone to make yourself comfortable. Just give us a few seconds. We'll be all set for you. The lady in the center. Can we have a few more mics, please?
Should we start? Okay, it's me again. Sorry for this. I'll just start off with saying that why don't you guys introduce yourself? I think that'll set the context for what we are discussing here. So the subject is the latest buzzword, which is social commerce and how social commerce impacts brands, platforms, and all of that. So Anu, why don't you start with?
Yep. Any show of hands? Okay, hi. So my name is Anuradha. I head up Poshmark India Marketplace. So Poshmark is a very unique, I think unique is a oft used word here. So it's a social commerce marketplace for new and pre-loved items. So it's also peer-to-peer, which means you and I can buy from each other. We're also a full solution, which means you can, starting from listing to payments to shipping to returns, everything is handled by the platform. So it's like a marrying of e-commerce as well as Instagram of sorts. And all the sessions here have been great. So much value add that we can do to our users as well. So excited to be here. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Abhinav Jain, Vice President of Commerce at Reposo. In my past life, I was the founder and CEO of Shop 101, sold to Glance last year. And at Reposo, now we are building live entertainment commerce. I think Sunil took the last 12 minutes describing what live entertainment commerce is. So I don't know how I can better that. But fundamentally, we are building a very immersive experience. Think of building a shopping mall online where you have entertainment going on, you have shows, you have music, you have dance, and of course you have then shopping, right? And it's to the point that I think Sunil mentioned social commerce. It's a play on social commerce where there is creators and influencers on one side who showcase products and of course have beautiful content around the products, have the narrative around the product. And on the other hand, you have experts, which Sunil was saying as sales experts, like the Muji example, people who know the products in and out, who take you through the nitty-gritties of the product as well. And then there are entertainment shows, which are hardcore entertainment, musicathons, and we were like the sponsors of Rendezvous. You could actually watch Rendezvous IIT Delhi Fest live on our platform. So that's what we are doing. We are marrying entertainment, shopping, and making it a big carnival, which you can access pretty much 24/7 on your phone.
Hi everybody, this is Shantanu. I look at marketing and growth at DealShare. So at DealShare, we are a social commerce company. The products that we offer are more of daily use products, which are grocery, general merchandise, fashion, and a bit of lifestyle. We specifically solve for the tier 2 and tier 3 India, while we are present in the metros of the world. And what differentiates us from the rest of the grocery and social commerce companies are we have two models. We have our warehouse and spoke, hub and spoke model. We also have a deal share dost model. This is where the influencer part comes in. Your deal share dost is the popular guy in your village or town or kasbah, and he generally acts like an influencer, gets in the growth, delivers, and the payment structure is on a per order basis. The other side of social commerce that we explore is we have a lot of users on WhatsApp and Telegram. We drive a lot of engagement through it. And yes, this is your hardcore tier 2 and tier 3 or the senior citizen, what my mom and dad loves. This is the good morning, good evening message kind of engagement that we drive. And we've been lucky enough to see exponential growth there.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Roshan. I'm the founder, CEO of GoBillion. So GoBillion is a Y Combinator-backed social commerce startup. We enable group buying for customers in small towns. So essentially, we focus on the lower income and the mid-income segments. Customers can form social shopping groups within the GoBillion app and unlock great savings on their groceries and daily essentials. And we started from a very small town, right? So, it was actually a very fascinating journey. We started our first market in Guwahati, which is in the northeast and largely overlooked, right? And of course, now we've scaled significantly across East India. So we're building the future of group buying in India and seeing exponential growth there as well. Thank you.
So, Shantanu, I'll put this question to you. You are addressing a pretty significant market on, say, and the others can then take on from there. We see the cycles of buzzwords that appear. And about a year ago, social commerce became this big juggernaut that rolled into India. A whole bunch of companies raised, $1 million, $100 million, $200 million. Unicorns came up on that. But what exactly is this animal? There is like too many definitions that are floating around. So, like between the four of you guys, if you can define for the audience what is social commerce, that'll be great.
Yeah, thanks, Sunil. This is actually a very interesting part of social commerce, and the social commerce and the virality part of it. How I see it is we define according to the TG that we actually belong to. A lot of people possibly sitting in this room wouldn't want to think beyond the Instagrams of the world and the Facebooks of the world, but actually we've just scraped the surface of it. We've gotten a huge response from WhatsApp. This is the engagement programs that we've run on WhatsApp while we do keep sharing deals and how they can save money. And there has been a lot of people joining our WhatsApp group. We share makeup tips there. We share how to, what is the secret of Ayurveda, your typical Saas Bahu serial nitty-gritties. And that's where the virality kicks in, right? It should be in a format which is shareable. And for us at DealShare, the social commerce bit is a bit beyond the Instagrams of the world, because most of our TG is actually not on Instagram. While I'm not saying that none of them are there, but what we try to look at is the virality part of it, that in a period of a month or a week, something goes so viral that it's flooding all the groups in the state and all. And we try to capture the market, which is your typical uncle who sends you good morning every morning. And we combine it with the tips on how they can save money and how they can download our app. And all. I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly.
Yeah, I think you covered one aspect of India. So, this is open to Roposo and Poshmark. Y'all cater to the other part of India, which is not what DealShare saying. So, want to elaborate?
Absolutely. So the way I think of social commerce is, fundamentally, when we thought of e-commerce first, it was a very individualistic experience, right? You literally open a website and you just buy. Social commerce basically brings in the social element into it, and there are different ways to do it. One is, of course, what Shantanu explained in the format of DealShare. The other one is how we are doing at Roposo, which is a live commerce format where there's a creator or an influencer who's taking you through the product, explaining. You can ask questions live, you can interact, you can applaud, you can, because it's also entertaining, you can send gifts, etc. So it's a format which makes it very engaging. It is almost like you are trying to recreate a typical shopping experience, which is to go to a mall, to a shop, with a group of friends, family, try on things, ask questions, ask the assistant, bhaiya aur dikhao, show me more, and do those kind of interactions. So that's what social commerce for me is, and that's what we are doing at Roposo, where we are bringing the latest content, latest creators who talk about products. You can interact with them and have a very engaging format of shopping.
So what is the TG that you're addressing? While, you're addressing, DealShare is addressing the tier 3 probably. What is the TG that?
For us, we define our core target audience as Gen Z. We actually like to call them Gen Now. And think of them as college students, first jobbers, teenagers, people who want to try out different things, are not satisfied with the status quo.
Not the audience in this room.
The audience in this room wants to sell to them, right? That's the audience everybody wants to sell to, and that's what we are going after.
Anu, your?
So it's very interesting the way we are chronologically defining this. So we were at a time when we were shopping from sellers. So you were looking at an app or a website, and there was a seller who was selling something to you on a marketplace. And then we came to aggregators or people in the neighborhood who started doing it together. And then we spoke about influencers who are standing up there and talking about the product. So here we are at Poshmark, where for us social is literally you and me. So we call it peer-to-peer. So I can sell to you, I can buy from you. So the definition of a seller and buyer becomes a little hazy, and that's where our flywheel really is all about. Because today, I might like the shirt that Sunil is wearing, and Sunil is bugged of that shirt. So he'll go home and maybe he doesn't like repeating his shirts. So he goes and lists that on Poshmark. I want to, buy something for my husband, and I think this color is going to look great on him, and I don't want to spend like maybe 2,000, 3,000 rupees. I may just end up buying that from him. Now, he may decide to do this because he wants to recycle his wardrobe, earn some money. I may do this because I'm a sustainable shopper. I may also do this because I am not looking to just buy and dump stuff in my closet, and I'll keep revolving my closet. So I think for us, the whole concept of social is really you and me. So there's absolutely nothing in middle. It could be just you and me selling and buying from each other. And what happens on a platform like Poshmark, which is also built in a very social, Instagramish way, is that power sellers or high-profile sellers or sellers who are repeatedly selling and are engaging with their users become quasi-influencers of sorts. So we have what we call Posh ambassadors, where they have millions and millions of followers. So they'd be making 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, hundreds of sales every day. In a marketplace like India, it's evolving, but in a marketplace like the US, where we're headquartered, they'd be doing maybe millions of dollars worth of sales every day. They may not have started as individual sellers, but they may have become one because of the sheer power that they, they just confront this whole, this user base, and they realize, okay, now I've run out of what I can list from my closet. So where else do I find material from? So they start sourcing, right? So for us, I think social is a completely new dynamic. It breaks the boundaries of no one can come in between. But I think it's very powerful because in times like where we are in India, influencers play a huge role. We're also speaking of the concept of pre-loved and new, which is new in India. Thrifting is new in India. I mean, it's not new, but the way we are envisaging it through Poshmark is relatively new. So I think the influencers are bringing in a lot of the power of acceptance. The Gen Z, as you're talking about, is bringing in the power of value, because I want to own an experience. I don't want to own the item. So I'm not looking to buy that sneaker that's wonderful because it's new. I want to buy it because I like the experience. So the social element is more for community, is more for curating a certain type of choices. So that's social for us.
So have you tried pitching this as Web3 to any of the investors?
I should try. That's a good one. Yes, I should.
Give me some equity for suggesting that. Yeah. Roshan, what about you? I mean, how do you define?
Absolutely. So I think what's also important is, I'm a small town guy, right? And largely we have to look at how social commerce has evolved and why, not just in India, but also globally in other emerging economies. So if you actually go back 10, 12 years in time, right, when e-commerce started in India, through the Flipkarts of the world, right, this was purely focused on the large cities in India, the first, 100 million customers, giving them convenience and let's say a good deal. But as India evolved and other emerging economies evolved, the customers started changing, right? A lot more new customers started coming into small towns, and that's where I'm from, right? Now, the reason why social commerce came into being, because we realized very early on that to serve these new customers, you have to take a very different approach. You can't just lift and shift a pure play e-commerce 1.0 model and just kind of acquire them and retain them, right? So typically in my version of my book, social commerce is basically using any social media lever, be it a WhatsApp or any other live commerce platform or let's say any other social media tool to acquire, retain, or convert customers, right? And especially at GoBillion, our TG is very specific, right? We look at tier 2, tier 3 audiences. Typically, customers are overlooked by traditional e-commerce players, right? The lower income and the mid-income segments. And you've seen there's a very strong element of community or social connection at place in these markets, right? And this also kind of mimics in other tier 1 markets as well. So what we basically do at the core is we're just kind of augmenting their natural shopping behaviors, which they demonstrate when they're shopping offline anyway, right? So be it group shopping or be it live shopping, or even if you look at, voice or, enabled shopping as well. Typically what you're doing is you're looking at what they naturally look at shopping in the offline worlds and augmenting that by technology and making it much more seamless to kind of acquire these customers or retain them, right? So that's typically what you look at.
So, Roshan, is adding from where you are right now, how is this benefiting the retailer? Because, there is a churn that's happening in the retailer segment in India. I mean, we are at the beginning of a downturn. So how does your platform help the retailer?
So to be specific, we are a B2C focused platform, which means we connect customers directly to, let's say, a manufacturer or distributor. So in essence, probably retailers don't get directly benefit from GoBillion. But I think in general, how social commerce benefits retailers, I can probably take a stab at that, right? So typically, I think if you look at a retailer, right, his or her primary, channel of sales would be a typical storefront visit where he kind of stocks his, inventory and people will just come and purchase from the storefront, right? But now you have a lot more other, channels, be it a Shopify or any other, digital storefront like a Bikai or let's say a Dukaan, where a retailer can set up their, digital storefront and share those products or inventory through WhatsApp, right, directly to the customer, bypassing any other aggregator or any other, let's say, e-commerce platform, right? So which means he or she is saving their margins there, and directly they can, start marketing to the customers, resulting in better ROI. I think you covered that as well, right? If you can directly convert and talk to your customers, bypassing other traditional, let's say, aggregators or e-commerce platforms, it's just better to kind of manage those relationships and have a higher LTV or a lifetime value of the customer there.
So for Roposo, I mean, this is probably a question that you have faced at some point or the other. There are probably about 35,000 D2C brands in India. We are in the middle of that golden period of D2C. What happens when you move, say, 2 degrees lower, when you're talking about tier 3 cities? Markets which have just come up. I mean, the geo effect, if I might use that.
See, I think there are multiple things that are at play. First of all, the geo effect, the smartphone effect is what makes live commerce so popular today, right? Because practically anybody sitting anywhere in the country today can watch a live stream. 5 years ago, this was not a reality. You had to be next to a broadband on a desktop or a machine with a proper internet connection. So that's what enables this live entertainment commerce to happen, where you can access it. And also, even from a creator standpoint, creators and influencers can go live from anywhere, right? Like we live streamed the entire Rendezvous IIT Delhi Fest. We live streamed the entire musicathon from Bir in Himachal Pradesh, literally using mobile phones, right? Setting up mobile phones around the stadium. So I think it's a macro shift that we are seeing, and which is why this is picking up. From a brand standpoint, it's a very interesting play, because I feel consumers today are becoming very picky. See, India has been always very diverse. Every 20, 30 kilometers also the tastes change, which is why literally a sari, a thing as simple as sari is worn in 50 different ways and in 50 different formats across the country, right? So today, this emergence of various D2C brands means that every brand can have their own niche audience, can reach to their end consumer. And for us, it's a very great place because see, like you said, 10 daily shows is a lot. We do actually 40 daily shows already today. And we already on our platform have close to 1,000 D2C brands listed, right? In addition to the direct manufacturers and the factories that we have already tied up with. So our depth of product, depth of shows is already fairly deep. And of course, some of the shows are tailored to the metros and the tier ones. But then there are shows where literally our product ranges are, how do you get a combo in 199? Right? A party combo for 199. Now, all of those are very easy impulse purchases. Plus, as you also rightly said, it's about discovery shopping now, not about intent, right? People want to come in and see. Tier 2, Tier 3 people want to explore first. They want to see what's happening. They want somebody to at least show them, take them through what's happening in the world. So this is the place where people can come and enjoy, and over a period of time also, of course, end up shopping as part of that journey. So it's probably, I would argue that this is the right way for people to come in and experience the internet, so to say.
So can we start calling this phase the aspirational commerce of India?
Yeah, maybe. That's a good phrase.
Okay, you heard it first here. This is aspirational commerce that we are talking about. Yeah. Anu, you want to add to that?
So it's a very interesting concept about brands because for us, we are a marketplace and it's more of, your closet is my inventory. So I'm not really speaking of a brand. But the interesting trend that we are seeing is that two things that come to my mind as Poshmark. One is many brands feel today, especially in the space that we are in, which is fashion, accessories, electronics, that there's so much that goes to landfills and there's so much of wastage. All of a sudden, the brands are now aware that the garment that they made or the item that's out there has a much longer life, which means that there is going to be a life, another life, and another life, which just means that the brand has created a little more value. That can happen on Poshmark, which means a Zara bag that I own, a tote bag that I'm bored of, doesn't have to be tossed away or given off to someone who will not see the value in it, but can be sold off. So I think a lot of brands are looking up to platforms like this just because it, one, it's conscience clearer. Secondly, there's a larger lifetime. The other aspect, which is completely different, where brands, especially in evolved economies in countries like the US, where we've been there for over a decade, is that they feel this is a platform where they're able to speak to their consumers much faster than the traditional methods where, they're, even in Instagram today, it's not going to give you direct insights. Versus a store, a Levi's store, for example, can actually have a store on Poshmark where they'll be able to talk to their customers. The customers will be able to come back and tell them what they want. Or the fact that, like what Kamaljeet said in the morning, that, you will be okay to bring up a concept, fail fast, go back and take, improvements right at the word go. You don't have to have that long lead time. It is a little evolved in economies like that, but I feel this is where the whole power of social commerce comes in, and therefore the aspirational word ties back as well.
Yeah, I'm just smiling at Kanwaljeet's fail fast wall thing. Do VCs really allow you guys to fail fast? Okay, let me not get controversial on this. So, one of the things, one of the largest social commerce companies, and we'll not name them just to be on the safe side, is beginning to compete with Flipkart. And I'm naming Flipkart because, well, not an Indian company anymore, all of that. Yeah. So they're beginning to compete with things. So how does that change the dynamics of what we guys do? Are we now looking at, say, deal share? Is it like looking at competing with Flipkart? Because Flipkart has got social commerce, initiative that is going on. Pretty successful is what I hear. So your opinion on that?
Well, to be very frank, this popular company is changing gears and getting into the grocery space.
I can't name them.
Even I'm not naming them.
Okay.
So Flipkart, being a US company now, US/Singapore company, has been doing some decent work in social commerce. But how we at DealShare see is their TG and our TG is very different. when we've opened Rajasthan, we mean small towns like Chunjunu, Bassi, Chomu, Badmer. There are a lot of companies, I won't name them, they say that we've opened Rajasthan and then they are not beyond Ajmer Road in Jaipur. And there's similar kind of stories in Madhya Pradesh and UP and Karnataka. For Karnataka, for example, Bangalore, people call it the Silicon Valley of India, the startup capital of India. But then there are so many companies who do not cater to towns like Hassan, Shimoga, Tumkur. Tumkur is next to Bangalore, Hubli, Dharwad. So
we are almost in Tumkur, so.
So yeah, we're almost in Tumkur. Right? So basically, we are enabling the so-called the buzzword Bharat. There's a very interesting thing that we learned. These are the people, just like Abhinav said, that Jio has enabled a lot of startups and a lot of users to come in touch with each other. And these are the families who have just one smartphone in the entire family. And these are the new users who are getting added to the ecosystem. And there's not a lot of data present about them, how they shop, what they want to look at, what are their buying patterns, what are their spending patterns. So we are also evolving and learning. And I think the bigger social commerce / e-commerce players who are entering this market will have to spend a fair bit of time in unlearning. And that's where the trick is. But I personally believe that the bigger the pie is, the bigger the piece is. So it's good for everybody.
So, and what's the panel's opinion about the mythical 100 million buying audience in India? There have been like lots of stuff that has been written on Twitter and all of that. So what's your, what about your take on the 100 million myth?
I think when you term it as aspirational commerce, there itself you answered that question, right? That the 100 million is already here. It's real. It's what exists today. What all of us are saying is that we of course cater, at least at Roposo, we of course cater to the 100 million. But the formats that we are creating, the content that we are creating, the shows that we are creating, will make sure that the next 500 find it very easy to consume and buy, right? All our products are cash on delivery. We deliver to 26,000 plus pin codes in the country. We take pretty much returns on all products, except maybe a couple of categories, right? So it is about saying that the 100 million is real, it's here, let's serve them, and let's build the aspirational commerce that we talk about for the next 500 million.
Okay. I think, have we run out of time, or can we continue on this? We have. Okay, the organizers have disappeared. Have we run out of time? Okay, we have run out of time. I'm stopping you guys from having lunch, I guess. So, concluding remarks, guys? Anu, anyone?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting time and dynamic that we are all operating in multiple ways today. I think the way we are going to consume commerce, the way we are going to participate in commerce. So I think the aspirational 100 million is real in a strange sense. So just leaving the team with one anecdote that happens in our teams usually at Posh Market, especially in India. You know, whenever you have these big billion sale, the end of reason sale, etc., that's a time when we usually lie low. And you'll see, give it a week, and you'll see the number of listings on Poshmark will go up. And that's the typical guilt cycle where people have shopped mindlessly and people are coming back and listing, right? So I guess there is a circular, there's a superpower circular that's working here. So
it's not actually end of season, it's end of reason.
Exactly, it's EOR,
Yeah,
it's absolutely.
okay.
Which is why they're justifying it by coming back and listing and not feeling so guilty about it. Yeah.
So thanks a lot, guys. I think this was interesting. If the audience has any questions, please, they can answer. Or we can go have lunch. See, we were so damn good that there are no questions. So, yeah. Thank you guys. You've been a patient audience.
Thank you so much. I request Mr. Sunil Nair to honor our panelists. I request our hostess to help us with the giveaways. Can we take a picture? Picture. Just one group picture.